Hello viewers, welcome to this in-depth analysis of the fourth round of the KNDB World Championship 1994, where Iser Kouperman takes on Eugene Aman. In this tutorial, we will explore the strategic brilliance of center control as executed by Kouperman and break down the key variations and moves that define this intense match. Whether you are a seasoned player or just looking to improve your game, this analysis will provide valuable insight into top-level drafts. Let's get started. Kouperman played the white piece and then Aman played the black piece. So Kouperman opened the game with 32-28. He played 32-28. This move is an aggressive move that aims to control the center of the board early in the game. By moving a piece from square 32 to square 28, white immediately challenges black for dominance in the center. This move also opens up the possibility of quickly developing your corner pieces. It helps bring these pieces to the center of the board. Black responded by playing 18-23, and by playing 18-23, Black immediately challenges this central control, placing pressure on the piece on square 28. The 18-23 move often aims to set up a direct exchange of pieces. This can either balance out the control of the center or force white to react in a way that might weaken their position. A common mistake by beginners is to play 37-32. A common mistake they do is to play 37-32, which inadvertently opens up a vulnerability for the opponent to exploit. In response, Black should play 23-29 followed by 17-22, thereby establishing a material advantage. In response, Kouperman played 33-29, and then 34-29 can also be played. So 34-29 can also be played. Kouperman responded with 33-29. And then Black exchanged the piece at 29, and White responded to this move by playing 41-37, developing the pieces at a single corner. And then Black played 12-18. White played 39-23. Black responded with 7-12. White responded with 37-32. And then 17-21 is played by Black. White responded with 46-41. And then Black moved to square 26 and White played 31-27. From here, a well-known opening trick is Black playing 26-31, and then White will respond by playing 27-22, followed by 33-29, and White wins a piece. So Aman played 11-17. White responded this move by playing 41-37. So here White has developed his left wing perfectly. The pieces on square 46 and 41 have been centralized. These pieces have been centralized. Aman played 17-22, removing the piece at the center. White responded by playing 44-39, and then the move continued. Aman played 2-7, and then 50-44 was played by White. 7-12 was played by Aman. 33-28 was answered by Kouperman, and then Aman played 18-23. 38-33 was played by White. Black played 10-15. White played 42-38. Black answered by playing 5-10. White played 47-42. Now from here we see that White has built a compact position with a lot of formations. So we have this formation which can remove the piece at 26, We also have this formation which can remove the piece at square 23, and this formation is also there to also remove the piece at square 23. White has a very good formation, so his position doesn't contain any weaknesses. Black also tries to keep controlling square 23 and then square 24. The next phase of the game shows a fight for control over square 23 and especially square 24. So Black played 1-7, developing the piece at the corner over here. 34-29 was answered by Kouperman. So Kouperman removed the piece at square 23. And then 39-34 was played by White, and Black played 12-18. 43-39 was played by White, and then Black played 7-11. Kouperman played 49-43. Black played 8-12, and then 44-40 was played by Kouperman. And so again, we see that White pieces are working together. White has a good formation. So Black played 18-23. White removed the piece at 23. So White answered this move by playing 45-40. And then 10-14 was played by Black. 40-34 was answered by White. And 14-20 was played by Black. White played 34-29, taking the center square 29. And then 20-24 was played by Black, moving back to square 14. And then 39-34 was answered by White. So White moved this piece to square 34. And then 14-20 was played by Black. White played 43-39. Black answered the move by playing 3-8. And then 34-29 was played by White. White answered the move by taking the center square 29. So White has occupied 3 key central squares. 9-14 was played by Black. Now Black can also choose to play 20-24, and this position is still defendable, removing White pieces from the key centers. So square 28 and square 29, removing these pieces over here, and this position can still be defended by Black. But he played 9-14, and then 39-34 was played by White. He answered this move by playing 39-34, and then Black moved to square 25. Now in this position, White played a very strong move by taking control of square 23. So he moved to square 23. So this is a strong move played by White. Black didn't lose control over square 24 entirely. White can't go to square 24. So with this position, White cannot take control of square 24. So the strong move for White is to move to square 23, control square 23, the center square 23. White attacks through the center. Black responded by playing 4-10, and then 35-30 was played by White, and 10-15 was answered by Aman or Black. White played 34, exchanging the Black piece at square 25, and Black played 15-20. White answered the move by playing 40-34, and then 20-25 was played by Black. But if Black had played 20-24, it would be answered by. So if Black played 20-24, this move will be answered by playing 34-29. So he played 34-29, and then Black will move to square 30, and White will play 29-24. Black will move to square 35. White will play 23-18, and the game will be won by White. So White will now lead with a material advantage. So Black moved to square 25. White played 33-29, a very strong move. He controls square 29. So we see that white has taken the center squares 27, 28, 29, and then 23. These are strong center squares that white has occupied. White played a very strong move by moving to square 29. White uses tactics to perform his plan. So by playing 33-29 is a tactical move because black cannot play 26-31. So if black plays 26-31, this is what happens. White will play 34-29, and then black needs to capture the 2 pieces here to square 37, and white will take these 4 pieces, and white will lead with a material advantage. Also, if black plays 35-30 and then play 26-31, white needs to play 25-20, and the same thing happens. Again, if black played 14-20, white will move to square 24. White will control square 24, and things will be very difficult for black at this moment. So after white taking square 29, black played 13-18. He played 13-18. White played a very strong move, another strong move, by taking control of square 22. So he played 27-22. So white played 27-22, and then followed by 37-31. So we have this position. White has taken control of square 22 and then 23. So 2 central squares, 22 and then 23. We also have 28 and then 29. 11-17 was played by Aman. So Aman moved back to square 7. 38-33 was played by white. White moved to square 33. And then black played 21-26. And then 48-43 was played by white. White moved to square 43. And then black played 6-11. And then 43-39 was played by white. White moved to square 39. So white has transported his golden piece to square 39, threatening 29-24. Then after that, 23-18 we played, and he will capture with the piece at square 23 to square 10. So black avoided this move by playing 14-20, and then white take the center square 23 again by playing 28-23, and 11-16 was answered by black. Black moved to square 16. 29-24 was played by white. White moved to square 24. White now controls square 24. As you have seen, it has taken white a while to control square 24. But after a hard struggle, white has now finally occupied square 24. So black played 16-21, and then white played 34-29. He moved the piece at 34 to square 29. 7-11 was played by black, and this move is a weak move. Black should have played 21-27 to activate the 8-12-17 tail. So the strong move for black should have been 21-17. This tail will help black to exchange any move to square 19. If white move to 19, the tail will be able to remove white piece from square 19. So with this move, white move to square 19, because if 8-12-17 tail is there, this tail will be able to remove this piece at square 19. So the 7-11 played by black was a weak move. Now as white played 23-19, white has a breakthrough which cannot be halted at this moment. So this move, there's nothing black can do about it. He played 25-30 by sacrificing the piece at square 25, and then he played 11-16, and white responded with 29-24, and then black played 21-27. 24-20 was played by white, And then black answered this move by playing 27, 32. He moved to square 32. White played 19, 14. White attacks the piece at square 9. Black allowed this attack by playing 32, 37. And then white captured the piece at square 9 to king at square 3. And black played 37, 42. White played 20, 14. He moved to square 14, threatening to capture black future king. So he moved to square 14. And then black played 8, 13. White has to capture the piece at square 12. And then 13, 18 was played by black. White moved back to square 3 with the king. 18, 22 was played by black. White played 14, 10. Now black moved to king at square 47 by playing 42, 47. Then 4 was played by white. White moved to king at square 4. And then black captured the white piece at square 33. And then moved to square 29. And white captured the piece at 22 and moved to square 27. And then 26, 31 was played by black. And then white played 27, 22. And then black resigned. So in this tutorial, we have dissected the intricate strategies and key variations from the match between Iser Kouperman and Eugene Aman. Kouperman's mastery over center control was on full display, showcasing why he is one of the greats in draft history. By understanding these moves and the thought process behind them, you can enhance your own gameplay and apply these tactics in your matches. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth draft analysis. Thank you very much. See you in my next lesson.